All right, good evening, everybody, everyone, and just welcome to this special live program, this live discussion. Many of you would be aware that a lot of churches have been unable to operate as usual in terms of meeting on a Sunday or Saturday or whichever day of the week because of the restrictions placed on various countries, not just Trinidad and Tobago, but Guyana, the US, and different countries in terms of assembling. And what that means, or what that has meant, is that churches have been forced to find creative ways, alternative ways of meeting with their membership. And of course, the easiest way to do that is through social media. However, not all the churches were prepared. Not all the churches have the capacity or had the capacity to do such. So what we're doing tonight is we've assembled a group of experts, so to speak, who will be telling us a little bit about how we can get online as churches, advising pastors and leaders to get online, and to also share their own experiences in terms of streaming, whether it is Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, whatever option you use. Now let me just introduce who we have with us. We have Deacon Randy. He is from Belmont. Good evening and
Good
welcome.
evening, sir. Thank you.
All right, I know you're responsible for the technical aspects there at Belmont.
That's correct.
And we have Minister Chantel De Freitas. Make sure we have her there. Yes, that's Minister Chantel. Good evening, welcome. Good to have you.
Good evening. Thank
We
you for
have
having us.
great. We have Corwin Cyrus. No, that's not Corwin. That's Randy. You're gonna get the hang of things as we go along. That's Corwin Cyrus. He is from Bethlehem Assembly of God Church in Valley Stream in New York. He's also responsible for the technical aspects of things there. And of course, we have a veteran. Doesn't like me to describe him as that. A veteran in the telecommunication sector. He's been around for a very long time and he knows a lot. He's the CEO of Heartlight TV, and they do lots of streaming. So he will be able to add a lot of insight into what we are talking about this evening. We have a few others who will join us along the way. We were expecting Agri March and Pastor Duggan and also Mark Doris in Tobago, who will join us shortly. But we want to get things going, ladies and gentlemen, or lady and gentlemen. We want to talk first of all about, before we get into the technicalities, why is it important for churches to get online? Why is it important for churches to be on Facebook or on YouTube or Instagram at this time? Bart, you as the most senior man, not in age, but the most senior man, you want to jump in there? Why is it necessary?
Yeah, good night. Good night. Robert, and the rest of the panel. Uh, Generally, uh, at this time where most countries have imposed shutting on the population, the church still has to find a way to communicate with its community, as I put it, or its congregation, so that the easiest and the most accessible way at this point in time is through social media. By this very nature, social, uh, it sort of inculcates the community spirit. So basically, I would say that is the reason why they need to be on social media right now, just to keep that communication going between themselves and their congregation.
All right, thank you. Minister Chantel, you want to jump in? I know that Belmont has a long history of streaming and the church services. Tell us a little bit about the impact that you've seen in terms of Belmont streaming, some of the feedback you've been receiving, and why is it so necessary for churches to be online at this time?
Okay, again, good night. Church, well, being online, especially in a time like this, where ministries are shut down for want of a better term, or for want of a better term, and um, the truth is, at the end of the day, plenty churches that have not been how to put up to mark with technology are suffering because of not being on Facebook. I recall even when the COVID recently when it just started, a family member of ours, he called asking us, like, well, he know that we stream online and we are on for a while, so he wanted to know how easy it was or how difficult it was for them to be able to get on stream and to run with it. It took them a while because even in connections with what we were speaking before, um, one of the problems was, what do you have in your church in order to be able to do the live stream? And it's really important now in order to reach the unreached, as the word of God says. And so it is crucial, but really, really important that we all, get online. I mean, some people, for want of a better term, don't really like it from the perspective of, like, I don't need to go that way or the other. But at this point in time, this is what we call, we're not even saying the 21st century again. We have gone past that. So we need to be in line and in on stream with everything that's going in order to reach the unreached, which presently it would be through streaming Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and these things.
Right. Um, Let me just introduce two gentlemen who join us a bit late. That's Mr. Mark Doris, there from Tobago. He is from Restores of the Bridge Ministries in Tobago. And let me just add also, this is Mr. Agri Marsh.
Good evening.
That's him there. He
Good
is
evening.
one of those Google developers in Guyana, or one of the, let me make sure I introduce him properly. He's an ICT consultant, and he is part of the Google developer group in Guyana, and we will be hearing a little bit from him. He also has a lot of experience in terms of data and data management and so forth. Now, let's begin to get into why we're here tonight, to talk to the churches about what they can do to get online. Pastors want to know what exactly is the easiest, most practical solution to get online. Corinne, we wanna start with you. We want to throw you in the spot. From your experience, talk to us about what tools the average church can use that is cost effective, that is practical, that is easy to access, to be able to get online.
Well, the most practical tool would be Facebook Live. I know a lot of the pastors might not know how to use it, or they might feel a little bit intimidated. But surely there are young people who knows it inside out. Or the good thing is there's always YouTube for anything you don't know. Now, with Facebook Live, um, you it's just turn on your phone, you point it towards you, and you just start streaming. But you just have to learn like proper camera etiquette concerning like your background, how much noise you let into the camera, and those are some of the things that kind of distract from the or take away from the quality of your feed. A lot of times we focus on the video, but good audio quality, good clean sounding audio is also very critical. But yes, to answer the question, quickest and freest, Facebook. Yeah.
All right. But I want us to talk a little bit more about, okay, to say we want to get on Facebook is easy. Some churches know we have to get on Facebook. What do we need to do? How do we get um, onto Facebook? What tools we use? We're going to come back to you in a second, Corinne. I want to go between Minister Chantel and Deacon Randy, to hear from them in terms of what they have been doing to get online.
Deacon Randy?
Yes.
Right.
Go ahead.
So, well, we use Wirecast.
Okay.
Wirecast is something you have to pay for, but you don't have to use Wirecast. There is some free solution also. Wirecast is more like for you to switch between shots, for you to have some nice title and stuff. But there's things like OBS, vMix, and there are some other free ones. So they make just like have some big names, but actually they are actually easy to use. And also you have to remember that you have to have a good internet connection, because you'll be actually uploading to Facebook or YouTube or whichever stream media that you want to use. And it's not something that it's hard. You just have to actually consider what you have first and take it from there. Sometimes, like, you don't actually need an expensive camera. You can have a camera that actually can start off at one shot. Once you have the proper etiquette and stuff, and you can work your way about that. In terms of the audio and stuff, well, it's not a one-man job. Yeah, once you have a team and stuff, they'll be able to organize that. And how deep do you want me to get going?
Well, I mean,
Good
I'm here all the time to be able to
Good
go
question.
very deep. But before I go to, I want to go to Mark as well there and to be. But before I go to Mark, I know that there's a free version of the, well, not really free, but you get 60 days trial free in vMix that allows you to use all of the features and all of that. But I know you touched on vMix and you touched on Wirecast and all of that. I want you to just, for the people who have no idea what we're talking about, never heard about vMix, never heard about Wirecast, what are these things? What are they supposed to be doing?
Mhm.
So actually, they're supposed to manage the shot that you sent out. Meaning the shot, meaning that the image that is being previewed on the screen right now that you're watching. Sometimes you see like it have like Let's Talk Facebook Live. That's like you have some titles you can put up. You can have like two screens on the same screen, and they can make it interactive in terms of like most, like if you don't have like a proper background, you can add a background so that people will see like I have this wall behind me. You can have something nice but not destructive.
All right, good. I want to go to Mark and Tobago, because Mark is one of those guys who, he's very creative. He finds the easiest way to do stuff. Mark, you right. Go ahead and just tell us in terms of restored to the Greek and your own experience getting online and what easiest ways.
Hi, good night, Cardell, and good night to the panel, and thanks for having me here tonight. Um, let's say for persons who now start in live stream, I would say once you get a good phone with good internet and the way how you angle the camera, you could able to do good live stream for persons who don't have the technical stuff in the church to do the live stream, right? For persons who have the equipment, who have the workforce to do a more upgraded live stream. Let's say, for instance, you may not have an encoder to actually go live on Facebook, right? You could pre-record the program and take the time if you have the persons or the volunteer to assist you in putting together your church program. You could upload it. Facebook have the space for what to call it, to go live as though the program is showing now, right? And let's say for software, if persons have the equipment to actually go live, there are a lot of free software there to go live. And to make it more easier, if you don't have a good internet, because you need good internet to actually do live streaming, and to work around the internet problem, you pre-record the program, pre-record, and you have different software you could use to upload as though your church service going for 9 on a Sunday morning. You could use software to actually have that live view, have the live comments and stuff like that, while you at home and monitoring your program, and you could respond to persons who commented in the live, right? They have a software, because I normally search for different software, different ways how to actually do live streaming, and I come up with XSplit This is one of the software you could use. It's very easy.
Like
And go into Wirecast and vMix. Those are more upgraded program for persons who are already in the business, who know about programming, who know about live stream and stuff like that. But so take it easy way, get a cell phone, go to internet, know how to angle your camera in the HD format, and once they have you could have even a mic connect. I have a cable, but it's already connected to the computer, so I already can't show you. But you have this cable that you could plug into the phone and also get a line feed into your phone, so you could get better quality audio. For me, it's all about getting the word out. It doesn't matter how it goes out, getting the word out. But there are a lot of ways you could work around to get good quality word out.
All right, Mark, you made a very salient point there, because for some churches, I've been saying to the pastors, listen, if you don't have the internet set up at your church, or you don't have the capacity to actually go live at your location, maybe if you have a good camera, you can actually record the service in advance, and you can now load it on your system, a system such as vMix, and it will still come or project as live. So rather than stress yourself to do all of that on a Sunday morning, you can actually go ahead, preach, do your praise and worship, do everything, and load it on your system if that is what is available to you. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Good. I want to skip back to New York with Corwin. Bert, I'm coming to you. I'm leaving you for last. I want to skip back to New York to Corwin, because I know Mark mentioned about connecting your phone to the computer. And I know Corwin was telling me a bit earlier about some software that you can use, that your phone actually becomes the camera, that you can connect your phone to the computer and you use the quality. Let's say you have an iPhone and it has a good quality, or a good Samsung or something like that, and you actually have very good video as well as an audio feed from your audio mixer. Corwin, you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, so there's several software that do it, but the one I use is called IVCam. A simple YouTube search of use your phone as a webcam is going to show you all the options. So you can just do that. But the one I use is called IVCam. All you do is download IVCam on your computer, and then download IVCam app on your phone. And then once you open the app on both your computer and your phone, just connect, and your phone will become the webcam of your computer. The reason why I do this is a lot of our computers have poor quality webcams. Yes, yet we have expensive phones. So you gotta drain out all the value out of your phone by using the good camera on your phone. Oh, and next thing is people forget sometimes is that the front camera on your phone has less quality than the back camera. So if you want a higher quality from your phone, instead of turning your phone face like this, turn your phone so that the back of the phone is going to capture your image, and you gotta look at the screen to make sure you're set. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm using my phone in this
And what software are you using to connect your phone to the computer?
But IVCam. Once you open IVCam on your computer and open IVCam on your phone together, is really easy. It's gonna connect, and then when you join a meeting, you just go to camera settings and you can choose if you want your standard webcam from your computer or if you want the IVCam setup.
Right. I mean, your video is looking pretty good, so you know that it works. I want to go to Agri. He's a man that travels between Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago very often. Agri, I know that you know a lot in terms of data, and the importance of internet speed, proper internet speed, and all of that. Talk to us a little bit about the importance of having good quality internet for the live broadcast or for live stream.
Right. So the thing is based on where you are. So if you are in a place like Trinidad and Tobago, there are six fiber optic cables here. If you go to Barbados, they're about 3. Guyana, they're like 1.5. So it's basically based on where you are. So a few things impact your live stream: your upload speed and the amount of pings per second. So what's all that technical stuff? Your upload speed is, for example, if you have a pipe, there's a pipe that comes down, it's your download speed, and you have a pipe that goes up, is your upload speed. So when you paying for your package at home or at church, they'll give you your download and upload speed. And if you get anything upwards of, let's say, 10, 20 megabits per second, you can stream, but that should be the only thing you are doing. If you get something 40, 50, 60 megabits per second on your package, you can stream and do other things. Yeah. So that's the size of the pipe going up, because some ISP providers will give you, let's say, 100 megabits download and only 10 or 15 or 20 up. Yeah. And because you want to do live streaming, you must now look for a package that gives you bigger bandwidth going up. Yeah. So some persons say, well, we have a fast speed at home. How come the live streaming is so difficult? Yeah. If you look at what you're actually paying for, you're paying for something that gives you a big download speed and a very small upload speed. And if you want to use your phone, and your places where I'll share some links as we go along in the conversation. We could go and see where's the closest 4G or LTE port close to you, antenna close to you. So if you know, so for example, I give you a prime example. I go to Divine Destiny Worship Center in Diego Marte. My pastors is Apostle Vivian Duncan and Apostle Gemma Duncan. We had to stream from Carnage, right, which is West Trinidad. There weren't any fiber or anything there. Do you know what we used to stream? A 4G LTE device. That was our backbone of our streaming. So everything I told you about bandwidth and speed just now will be for a physical connection to your home. We're going mobile now. So, and we simply got one of those 4G devices, and all that device did was stream. So it's 4G. What does that mean? 4 up, 4 down, or 3 something down. Depends on if it's digital or be mobile and that kind of thing. But that worked for us. Yeah, because that's all that little 4G device did. It just simply took our video feed, compressed to like 720p. Well, we'll get into that later. Bert or one of them will talk about that. But once we drop it down to 720, a 4G device can give you 4 or 5 hours of good streaming. In Guyana, we have used GT&T 4G, and it does work well. You use it in different parts of the country. But again, you have to know that if you're going to use 4G, you can be right outside of the 4G coverage in your area. And I'm going to share some websites. We could go on and find out what is the closest cell tower to you. Is the cell tower a 3G tower or 4G tower? So if your pastor wants to go live from home and there's no fast connection, let's say you live somewhere in the East Coast, in what areas on the East Coast do we have 4G in Guyana? And what areas in Trinidad would you find 4G? And based on that, if it digital or be mobile or somebody's taking a while to give you a connection, you can use your phone, as one of the other panelists mentioned just now.
All right. Now, I just want to say to those watching, if you have any questions, so that I know we have some pastors online, and you have a specific question that you want to ask about streaming or any device or anything like that, feel free to just send us a message right here on Facebook, and we will be able to answer those questions and respond accordingly. Now, I want to bring in Bart here. Bart, has been around, as I said at the beginning, a very long time. He's a man who has been into telecommunications for quite a while. His part of his main job now is about streaming, as he runs a service that does primarily streaming. And I know he has a wealth of experience streaming. So, Bart, I want you've heard a lot so far for the night. I want you to jump in with your experience and talk to the pastors and the leaders and the technical people watching about how do you get the best out of streaming for your churches.
Well, I'm in company with people like Agri. I don't know if you could call me a major professional when Agri is online. I have to bow.
No, 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 no.
Yeah. I mean, Mr. Google himself. uh, well, I've heard a lot, and I'm quite impressed in with everything I've heard so far. I agree. Yes, a very simple way to get online is to stick a phone up in the air in your church, and you can stream. Facebook has made it very easy to stream. Now, generally, let me move the topic along a little bit because a lot have been said on the surface about streaming, but what has become quite popular in recent times is a protocol called Web Real-Time Communication, or Web RTC, as people have been. Now, that has been around for some time. Now, Lord Agri will tell you that Google has been one of the pioneers in the public WebRTC space, and Google has have this WebRTC option for some time now in YouTube. Facebook is now bringing in WebRTC in the sense that they are doing it. I think recently they announced things like rooms, I believe it is. And they also want to put it in a bigger space, but also even with the actual streaming API, it allows you to connect connect through a browser using WebRTC. Okay, so that I heard the point about having a good phone, and connecting it via a cable to your computer and whatnot have you. But you can use your browser with a nice webcam and a good mic, or you could do something like what I'm doing right now. Actually, right now, any software, I would not want to call brand names, but any software that has a virtual camera can connect to a WebRTC. So a piece of software like what we are doing right now. Okay, and through that software, then you could do your production. But rolling back a bit, I just wanted to throw that in as a an introduction. Rolling back a bit, I think the first thing a pastor needs to do before he gets online is to have a plan. I have a streaming plan. He must know. He must have an idea of what he like to put out there. He must have an idea as to what sort of resources he would need to get his message out to his community. And as I keep saying that word community because if we're talking about Facebook and even if we talk about YouTube, you have to understand what these platforms or how they run these platforms. If you understand anything about Facebook, you understand it's based around communities, right? So that you may want to preach to the world, but if your community has 10 people in it, it's only 10 people hear your message. So you have to develop a plan that will increase your community, right? Using whatever devices you want, okay, to get to those people. Now, if you come with the devices, let's say you have a phone, okay? What I've noticed over the years, I hope I'm not talking too much here.
No. Go ahead. We'll be listening.
What? Let's say what I've seen over the years, uh, people have been sticking up phones, and I want to give an example of what that looks like. Uh, so people have been sticking up phones, and and the format of it, is not very appealing to what one would give me a minute. I'm sort of waiting on my director here to give me some idea. Yeah, yeah, so- yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. So this is how it
I
looks.
realize you have a production within the production, so that's what's happening there. Right. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is how it looks if you when you pointing a phone, you know, at at your pastor. Okay, and you see that you have this sort of blurred on the side, and just a square box. And the reason for that being is,
I think I lost your audio there, Bart.
yeah, no,
Right. You're back. You're back.
yeah,
Yeah.
I sort of I'm subdirecting.
Okay.
So that what happens is that the phone really has. I think I agree alluded to 720, but the phone really, some phones are 720 and some phones are even 1080. But the camera itself is 360. It streams at 360, so that you find that the picture that you get, it's a very small picture within the overall picture. And really, from a production point of view, and when you're trying to sell yourself, it doesn't look too well. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so that
Right.
I usually recommend. Uh, I usually recommend people investing into their production. Even if it's not church production, they should invest into it. Now, I heard somebody saying that you need a whole team, but productions are such a software out there are such as these days that you don't really need a team to control it. You need one bright person, you know, and they can control your whole service, right? Once they know what they're doing, right? So that OBS is nice. I wouldn't want to call much of the other products, but they all have their different qualities and whatnot have you,
Yes.
right? You just have to get familiar with you know with uh, with with the piece of software that you're using. Uh, Express also has good features, but you need to get accustomed to it. And that's one of the things you need to understand the software. Now, basically, what those software do is they encode the signal from your input device, which is the camera. They encode it and digitize it and send it along the way. Now, with respect to streaming, Agri spoke quite nicely, and I respect Agri a lot. He spoke quite nicely about streaming via mobile. We do that at most of our events. I would tell you up front, the best way of streaming is with a hardware.
Mm-hmm.
But there
Mm-hmm.
are some instances where you have to use the mobile network. Now, the thing about it is that when you have networks like Facebook and even YouTube, agrees Google YouTube, we they are still using the old flash technology of what is called RTMP streams.
Mm-hmm.
It is a
Mm-hmm.
fairly old, it's fairly low latency, but it's RTMP is not really is no longer being developed It's a
Right.
flash-based and codec that is no longer actually being phased out. But the major CDNs use it so that the thing about using RTMP on a mobile network is that you're subjected to loss
Mm-hmm.
segments along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's say you're using, I think TSTT might get you get 5. He said
Mm-hmm.
4, but TSTT might give you 5.
Nice.
Now, the thing about it is that when you look for your nice hotspot on your pool, okay, you
Mm.
have to understand something. TSTT or one of the, let me not call names. One of those networks will tell you, they give you a marketing thing, right?
Oh.
Yes, they give you a high download and a small upload,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But basically, those are marketing. That's just the speed between you and them. It's
Mm-hmm.
not really the speeds outside. It's just the
Right.
speed between you and them. So that what happens is that you will say, okay, you have, let's say you have 5 up. Now that 5 up is, I don't want to get too technical, but it goes
Mm-hmm.
to the pole. Now it goes to a pole, and now they give you a little router in your house, but it
Mm-hmm.
goes to a pole, and that pole has, for I wouldn't want to call, for want of a better term, but let's say it has a router on the pole. Now that router on the pole, and the standard protocol of that router is it serves 100 houses in the area. So you go to that pole, however you go wirelessly or even with a line, you go to the pole and there's 100 people inside of there. So you say you are 5, and then John Doe down the road want to pay his games whilst you streaming your service.
Mm-hmm.
And now, if you understand anything about a router only gives it does a time share between the persons using it. So
Right.
everybody gets a piece of it, right? It does it very quickly, so you don't realize it, but everybody gets a piece. But if John Doe using, playing his game and you trying to stream, it drops you, right?
Bert, let me cut you just a little bit because we have two questions here that I want us to deal with.
Sure.
The first one, let me pull it up there for you. The first one is from Jason Rodolfo. And it says, regardless of the number of persons in your Facebook community, and I think this is probably in response to something you touched on, Bert, a pastor can pay to have his or her profile or page sponsored so that it reaches the wider community. I don't know if anybody wants to, whether Bert or Agri, the Google specialist.
No,
Um,
I will.
no. Live cannot be boosted.
okay.
Right. So let me put that into context. What he's talking about before we go live, right? Bert mentioned that pastor having a community. So before you go live, Hasten is talking about boosting the amount of likes of your page. So I have a little slide that I'll show in a while when we get to that part of the conversation. So for example, I start a page. I'm Pastor A. Pastor A starts a page after looking at Curda's live today. Pastor A said, listen to me. Next week, I have having a call. We're gonna start a page by next Sunday. Next Sunday, Pastor A starts a page. A page has he, his wife, his children, his close friends, and they share it in the church WhatsApp group. So Pastor A only has 50 people liking the page. Based on what Bert said, his community is only 50. What Hasten is talking about is the ability to grow that community from 50 to 100 to 200. And how would that be done? Facebook has the ability where you can pay them to boost and make and show your page to more people on Facebook. Yeah. And When you do that now, your community move from 50 to 100, which based on what Brett is saying, it needs to be a bigger community rather than just your 50 people who you serve or in your congregation, your 200 people in your congregation.
Of course, I agree. It comes back to the objective of the stream in the first place. Whether the pastor wants to connect with the members who are unable to come to church, if that's the primary objective, and then you have those people on, but you're still hoping that I might be able to reach a few more. But the primary objective is to reach my members. Or you can see Facebook as an evangelism tool and make a determination that I want to reach as many people as possible. You know, I want to reach people in Europe and Asia and Australia. And so I want to boost my page to access as wide an audience as possible. So you have to look at it from those two perspectives to determine why am I streaming in the first place.
Good. Very good.
Cornell, let me interject here. Actually, one of the beauties of COVID-19 is that pastors have realized
Bert,
you said one of the beauties.
Bert, I started to intercede for you now before you make that statement. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You still calling names. Sorry. Okay. People have realized that they can reach more. You know? They can reach more than their local community.
Correct.
Am I politically correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So that streaming now has become very attractive.
Wow.
You know? And you know, it's a beautiful thing. I believe, because it is bringing Trinidad closer to the actual, you know, the 21st century. You know, but you know, we're not hearing the female.
I'm actually going to bring her now because I want Minister Chandel to really share the experience of Belmont. To share the experience of Belmont. You know, Belmont has some history in terms of the impact really of streaming and the feedback you've been able to receive of members who aren't necessarily or people who aren't necessarily members of Belmont, so to speak. Tell us a little bit about that. And then we have a question that I have lined up that we have to get answered as soon as Minister Chantel is finished.
Okay. Well, at Belmont, well, since this whole pandemic season, we have seen an increase. But as you know, our Bishop, Dr. David E. Bellamy, is well known. He's out there. So you find that he of himself, even in relation to, as you were speaking just now, with the increasing of likes and people following the page per se, what we will do is that, well, as you know, I said again, he is somebody out there ministering all over the place. So what he will do normally is that so long as we go live, we will share, and then we would add, and I will tell of my people, and then my people will go, and we would spread it that way. But all and in all, he has his followers are really people that he ministered to when he go to different churches, and they would follow him. He of himself, from time to time, will go live on Facebook. As you know, he is the man of the nuggets. So his 5-minute nuggets on 98.1. He would also go on Facebook now, and he will do his different live streams, whether it's from home or otherwise, whether it's medical or spiritual, he will do it. So from that perspective, it has grown. I mean, well, yes, you know, because of the pandemic, it has reached a wider range now because more people is at home. So you find that we have the streaming is more, right? And but really and truly, as you say, it's a matter of spreading it with your congregation. Your congregation, I believe, could be 10, but the 10 will know 10 others, that will know 10 others, that will know 10 others, that will know 10 others. And that's how you increase, that's how you spread, and that's how you go forward with it. At least that's what we do from our end.
All right, let's look at this question very quickly, and then we're going to come back because I want to hear a little bit more about that aspect in terms of sharing your live stream to be able to build an audience. So that's an approach that pastors can learn as well in terms of building an audience for their stream. But let's look at this question from Dill Francis. I don't know who's going to take it. What upload speed will you recommend when shooting in HD? So what type of speed are you looking at? What quality? What video quality? I presume that's what he's looking at.
Right. So I like to quote stuff with statistics. So zen.co.uk, they help like that there's something like Bert mentioned, a big term, CDN, content delivery network. So they recommend 5 megabits per second as a minimum. Now, when they say 5 megabits per second, they mean 5 megabits per second dedicated. They don't mean, as coming back to Bert example, they don't mean you have 5 megabits per second. Somebody downstairs watching a YouTube video, somebody inside on a WhatsApp call, somebody looking at some movie, all on this one connection. Yeah, but and that's just your house. You have to be cognizant of those people in your area, and if they are also online doing network intensive things. Now there are ways to solve that. Now this answer is a textbook answer. If you have 5 megabits dedicated, the next question I'll ask you, how is your DNS set up? Is your DNS going to the one provided by your ISP? How I say that there, Bert? Right? Your ISP.
See how I bow?
Right?
I'm sure you lost a few people there, but go ahead.
Okay, so
I understand what he's talking about.
But okay, so to the pastor who's listening, there are a few things you have to consider. It's not just so, okay, to stream HD, you need this bandwidth. So the pastor will go to the ISP, I need 20 megabits per second because I want to stream. And then he's going to start getting some challenges, and then he's going to come back and say, what Cordell and these guys tell me about this thing giving issues. There are multiple factors that contribute to this quality of streams. Bert mentioned a few of them. The size of video coming out. I just talked to you about the speed for the size of video that Bert spoke about, which is essentially HD. The other issue is if your network provider, right, is how is that network provider performing in your area? Yeah, if you are with ISP A or ISP B or ISP C, in this area is ISP A, B, or C, who is the best? And really and truly, there's only one way to test it out. You have to pay some money or go by somebody who has paid some money and see who gives you your best at home.
Could I interject?
Just go ahead.
Okay, no, well, I beg to, well, there's another way of testing it too. It's a bit technical, but you can do a trace. What we do is a trace route.
Yes.
And you could tell by the pings on the different locations, what is giving problems and who's giving problems and that sort of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, with respect to Dill's question, or Pastor Dill, I should say, generally there are some specs that are put out over time. One would say if you're doing low HD, which is 720, you can go between 1.5 to 3 megabits per second. If you're doing high HD, or what I call full HD, you could go between 5 to 8 megabits per second. A lot of people in the industry find 8 is the best thing to use for HD. But I still think between 5 and 8 is a good benchmark. Now, the thing about it, though, is that when you're thinking about bandwidth and bandwidth utilization, uh, a little bit of advice that any techie person will give you is that what you do is if your provider give you 20 megabits per second upload, I'm just calling a figure, you divide that by 2, and then you find 80% of that half. Okay, so that will be somewhere around 8 megabits per second, and that will be the maximum upload that you should utilize going out. Okay, so if you have 8 going out as your max, you'll think twice before you do HD. All right, that's my answer. Back to you.
All right. I want to talk a little bit, following up on that, because a few people have contacted me and they said, you know what, we've been trying to stream, and I'm not talking about people who are using cell phones. I'm talking about people who are using either an encoder or some type of adapter, whether it's an HDMI to USB, whatever type of adapter. And they've been saying that, listen, we're getting a lot of sticking with the video. The audio quality is good, but the video is sticking. And what I found is that in some cases, the bandwidth can't carry the video quality. So you might be trying to do a 1080 or 720, but in reality, all the capacity that you have might be 480. But of course, that sacrifices significant video quality.
Exactly.
I know that for some of the passers who might just be using a cellular phone, you might say, what is guy really talking about? But I just want us to talk a little bit for the people who know what we're talking about here. And they're having challenges trying to carry a very high quality broadcast, but your speed doesn't have that capacity. I don't know who want to talk about that. Randy and Minister Chantel, I don't know if you've had that experience. I'm going to come back to Mark and Corwin in a second, but I know Agri and Bert, those guys, they are the data guys. So anybody can jump in with that.
Let me say something small, something short, and then we could take the bigger bite. One thing we need to understand is that, okay, you may have 5 megabits going out. Okay, that's between you and your provider. Now, let's say you are going to a Facebook server. That's in the States. And between your provider and the States, you have to go through a number of what we call hops, but basically it's computers. You have to go through a number of computers. Before you reach there. So even though you may have a very good connection between you and your provider, one of those segments maybe have problems, and that may cause your buffering. Agri, I pass it over to you. Agri?
Yes. So that is true. So that's why I was coming around to the it's going to be a bit technical, because for all of the routers that I work with, I automatically change the DNS from what is given to me by the ISP. Like, that's like my first thing I do. Go change the DNS. So one of the more popular DNS is the 1.1.1.1, and Google's DNS being 8.8.8.8.
I know you was coming with that one.
Right? Well, gosh, I said second. So currently right now, I can tell you my router at home, I have 1.1.1.1 set as the prime, and the second one is Google 8.8.8.8. Um, because I have because I don't really want to mention any ISP name. I have found that the minute you decide you're getting into streaming, you must ensure your network is configured correctly, and you must try to get the shortest path to your CDN, whether it be Facebook or Google or whoever. And so if the pastor wants to go HD and he wants the quality to be good and clean, then one, you need to buy a bigger package from the ISP. Colonel, I must tell you, you need to get one of these ISPs to start sponsoring this program, right? There's a side note. You need to get a bigger package from the ISP, right? Because the first question the pastor asks is HD. So no pastor don't want no standard definition. I'm gonna make that assumption. So
because for it brings you right down to standard definition. Right?
Exactly. So all the question from the pastor is HD. So let's go the HD talk. You have to pay for higher bandwidth from your internet service provider. That's one.
Providing that capacity is available.
Oh, geez. Oh, all right. So yes. So based on your location, if you're in a location where they don't have fiber, or if they have copper and not really fiber, then you will have some issues. So the best one is a place where there's fiber, or either one of the ISP can provide with fiber with a minimum of 50 megabits up, because Bert mentioned 20 being very small. Let's go at least a minimum at 50, right? And then you have your internal network in your house. You need to make sure the DNS is set correctly, and make sure when you're ready to go live is the only thing that your internet connection in your particular house is being used for, which means you're gonna make sure all your smart TVs are off. You're gonna make sure everybody else's device in the house is disconnected from the internet, because you're
very important.
Yes, very, very, very important, because as Bert mentioned, you remember you're sharing it with all the other devices in your house. So that.
But I want to cut you there, because you made a very serious point. Now we have two comments that we have to go to, but let me just say this very quickly. There are some pastors who are streaming in churches, but there's a problem, and that problem really is that a lot of people know the Wi-Fi, the password for the Wi-Fi in the church. So for the pastors, you will know what I'm talking about. If you're a pastor and you don't allow the members or give them access to the Wi-Fi, you may not be a good pastor.
Yes, pastor, don't share the Bible. Say you must share
access to the Wi-Fi. There are implications for that as well. And I'm not talking about whether people are on Facebook doing church and all of that. That's not what I'm talking about. But I'm saying that if you want to stream, but you're streaming, but then there are so many people pulling from this Wi-Fi. How do you treat with that? Is it that you now have to figure, I have to be the bad pastor and not share this Wi-Fi, or do you create some type of dedicated line?
Right. I can give you what I know we did at Divine Destiny. We are not. We are probably a bad example, but we started out with ISP1, Bert, right? Bert, we started out with ISP1. ISP1, then we upgraded, we went to ISP2. We still have ISP1. We realized that ISP1 is usually give trouble. We went to ISP2. ISP2, you upgrade, you know, whatever. Then ISP3 came out. ISP3 came out with some, you know, fiber and that kind of thing. We went to ISP3. ISP3 basic was also good. We upgraded from ISP3 basic package. You know, we usually move up to more corporate package. And that gave us some level of surety. And the general public was only allowed to access ISP2 router. Everybody else, like the whole membership, everybody, pastors, family, everybody, only getting to access ISP2. But ISP3 is dedicated to sending out, well, we send out 2 HD streams on a Sunday morning when we're actually in church with, right? So
But
ISP3,
Agri, let me cut you. What happens if your church can't afford 3 ISPs,
good,
or 3 lines to come
good,
in?
good.
You have this one. You can only afford one
Well,
internet.
then you change the password, and
Become a bad pastor.
yeah, you become a bad pastor. I am all for. I am not a pastor, so I can speak.
Agri, can I interject? Can I interject? Maybe
Yeah. Just 1 second. So I'm going to become a bad pastor and turn off the Wi-Fi. Turn off the Wi-Fi completely and run a line straight to my computer. Or if I follow Mr. What's the young man? It's not Doris. The other young man suggestions you using your phone. Kerwin, I am only going to have one connection to this when it's time for streaming. Yes, go ahead.
Because there are a few people commenting, and I want us to just deal with it. Pastor Dill says he has to, but he has 2 comments quick that he wants to share. The first one really has to do with that he consider the speed of the computer if you're streaming using a computer. I want us to make a note of that question, or that comment rather. He is also saying that there should be, if it's been said that we should have some advice on the hardware for the churches. So we're talking about computer speed, we're talking about the hardware. And somebody mentioned earlier about encoders. I want us to look at using an encoder. No, Bert said very early in the program that he prefers hardware. And I always tell people I'm a hardware type of guy. You give me a hardware, I will use that over software any day, right? Because I have preference for hardware. So those are 2 questions. And then Rodney McKenzie, he's from Scarborough New Testament Church of God. He said we should also consider computer specifications, which is similar to what Pastor Dill was saying. Computer specifications when we are using encoders. Those are 3 questions. Anybody could jump in and let's just see how we can roll through that as quickly as possible.
Well, I would respect. Well, okay. Let me see if I could deal with 2 of the things. But before I do that, let me sort of throw out my interjection. I wanted to put an alternate to Agri's suggestion about the bad pastor comment. With a little bit of money, if you could buy a switch, you could use a switch to separate the stream and give a lower priority to people using the wireless.
How accessible is that, Lord? And how costly is it? I like to talk money when it comes to.
We'll talk money offline.
You see, remember we're giving advice to pastors.
It's not very expensive.
Okay, good. Go ahead.
Can I interject?
Okay, no, but with respect to the computer hardware, right? Yes, computer hardware should be considered. Like there are some people who will take a computer and put some type of software encoder on it and decide they want to stream with that computer. But the thing about it is that yes, a computer motherboard could do the graphics, and it can also do the audio encoding. But it's better if you have a separate what I will call a subprocessor or graphics card that could control the graphics of the whole process than to do it on your motherboard. So that gives credence to the fact that yes, you need to consider the type of computer that you're using, maybe what type of graphics card you like to use, and that sort of stuff. Somebody wanted to interject something?
Right. Randy, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to interject. I just wanted to go back to the solution with the bad pastor. So what I did at Belmont, we purchased a router, and
Yeah.
the router you could dedicate certain amount of bandwidth to the guests and keep the rest for your stream. So like for instance, if you had like 20, you just designate like 5 for the wireless, so that's like for the guest users, and the stream will have allocated the rest. And that pretty worked for us.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I like that. That's an easy solution. I mean, it's a very real problem because pastors need to maximize the stream, the bandwidth for the stream, but then people want access online, and we have to be able to strike that balance. There's some people whose phones can only access the Bible online, and the Bible is. We have to face the reality. I mean, as pastors, we would love for everybody to come with a Bible in their hand, but it's not always the case, and it's a challenge that you have from time to time. I want to, before we continue with some of the technical stuff, because there are pastors watching and they're saying, yes, the encoder is good and all of that, but we only have our cell phones and we still want to get online. So I want to come back. I want to bring back in Corwin in New York there, and for him to tell us a little bit more at Bethlehem. Bethlehem. Make sure I give in the right church. Bethlehem Assembly of God there, Valley Stream. In terms of some more advice of the basic stuff that can be used and the basic solutions that can be used for churches who simply don't have an encoder. They can't afford an encoder.
Yeah.
They don't have an HD camera.
Put on.
They don't even have a DSLR, but they have to reach people. Talk to us, Corey. I think your mic is off. So
Yeah, his mic is off.
yes.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, the most basic thing, of course, we're seeing is a cell phone. The biggest problem people have with cell phones is how to keep them stable. How are you going to get a perfect angle to include the perfect shot on a cell phone and keep it stable? Well, what I'm using right now, very cheap. I just take a bottle and I just make a cut in the bottle and slide my cell phone in the cut. That's very stable, and you just prop up on some stand and you get a perfect shot. Whatever angle you want, is very simple. If you would like to see more details on how you can stabilize your cell phone, you can again YouTube do it yourself cell phone holders, and you're gonna
Yes.
the best ways to get cheap cell phone. I even use toilet rolls.
Yes.
Like the bounty roll, you just put a slit in the bounty roll and slide the camera in the slit and you stick it up in something and you got a perfect shot. People wouldn't even know it's a cell phone, they would think it's a tripod you're using. Right? So yeah, that is very important. And again, an advantage of cell phone is your audio quality is actually better than a lot of laptop mics. So you would have good audio, you would have good video. Now for the thing with the internet, for me with cell phone, especially in Guyana, sometimes our Wi-Fi might be kind of fluctuating, depends on how many people has the password. I think that using data is better in Guyana for stream. I think it's more stable.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But to correct the Wi-Fi problems, I say that if your church is using Wi-Fi, even with a cell phone or whatever, to stream, I would say give everybody the password. It doesn't even matter who has a password. When you want to use the internet, in 2 or 3 clicks, you could apply a MAC filter and only allow your phone to use the internet.
Right.
All right, and again, you could YouTube how to apply MAC filter. So how it works, 1,000 people could be using the Wi-Fi, and then you could say, okay, I want to stream now, allow only my device or 4 other devices. And again, YouTube, you're going to see in 3 clicks, everybody else will have the internet. Even though they have the password, they still can't connect because of the filter you put on. So that's a quick solution of hogging the bandwidth and using it for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I hope the answers correct our question. To me, the biggest thing with cell phone is getting the proper shot, and you use the button and you slide your cell phone in, you bring it close to your face. And yeah.
I mean, and it's simple because you see, I look at a lot of churches online, and sometimes I'm seeing the camera is dangling all over.
Correct.
to proper.
Correct.
Let me see if I can find my bottle just now.
Correct.
Go ahead, Bert. Go ahead.
I just wanted to give an actual example of that. I don't know if you're seeing it now,
Yes.
of the camera dangling all over the place. And this brings me back. This brings me back to my point about it brings me back to my point about presentation.
Right.
I'm not too into the camera, using a camera in church. Yes, I see why people do it, but I'm not really, I wouldn't really sell that to anyone, because personally I think a lot of it has to do with how you market yourself. This quality that you're seeing here, of course, you're seeing the raw, you see the blue background, that sort of stuff. But I don't think that is the better quality to put out when you when you want to present yourself, on the public sphere of the internet. All right, I just wanted to put that out there.
Right. And you see, because I want us to focus a lot on the practical solutions, let me come back, because I'm coming to Mark Doris. So Mark has a lot of experience there at the Resource of the Preach. But Corwin, I know, well, for example, what Bert is using and what Corwin is using, I know that Corwin is not in a fancy studio right now, and this is definitely not his living room or
The background.
I know that there's some type of software that is being used that pastors can utilize a normal green screen, or as Bert just showed us, a blue screen, and create a virtual set, so to speak. Touch on that very quickly in terms of what are you using, if you don't mind telling us.
Okay, so I'm using something called OBS Studio.
Very good.
Yeah, let me see if I can remove to show you guys the truth of what's happening here.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth. Wow.
We lost you.
Yeah, no, I moved it. I think I put it wrong just now. Just give me a second. If I can put this.
I hope
Let me delete the image.
Yeah.
All right, so okay. I am just in front of a green cloth right now. If I can delete.
Delete
Yes.
the layer. Yeah.
That's why, yeah. So that's why I'm just behind in front of a green cloth, and this can be done very easily. So what you do, you download a program called OBS Studio, and when you open the program, you just select your camera. It goes into the program, and you select an image, goes into the program, and then you apply a filter on your camera. That it tells the program that anything you see green on in your camera, show the image instead. So you sit in front of a green cloth, and the OBS Studio is going to turn everything green into the image, and the image could be anything you would like to do, and the output of OBS Studio could be presented as a separate camera. So when you go into like a Zoom meeting or Facebook Live, it's going to ask you which camera do you want to use. You're going to see your actual camera, and you're also going to see OBS Studio's mix as a camera. So you just select your OBS camera, and you get your whole mix to be presented.
And Corwin, your audio sounds pretty good. Tell us a little bit about that. What are you using? I know you can't be using your laptop microphone.
Okay, so all right, my wife knows how I buy everything on the internet. If I want to buy anything, I type in best XYZ in the world. Like seriously, right? So you can type in best mic in the world, and if you do that, it's gonna show you Shure SM58. It's only $100. I know there are better mics than that. I just Google and whatever comes up as number one, I just buy it. The Shure SM58 is just
For reference, that's 100 US, not 100 TT. And they're made in
okay. $100, right? But I got this thing in 2000. I forget which year I got it. It took a lot of falls. You can see it has a lot of dents, but it's still going strong. And I make a you can buy. Let me see. Convert. I'm talking Guyana currency. Sorry. You can buy $5,000 mics. A lot of those selling, right?
Mhm.
But you know, in churches, the young people like throw down your mic and rough up your mic, right? The cheap mics don't last long when people, you know, some people do drama and
Oh,
they fling the mic in the drama and those things could damage your mic. But this mic is rugged, right?
Yes.
I rough up this mic. It got some dents, but it's still working good. So this is and to plug it into a computer, you would need an adapter that just turns the XLR connection into a USB connection.
Mhm.
Right? It's called a Shure X to U. That means XLR to USB. This is 100 US too. But when you make this investment though, like you can forget about it. Years after you're gonna still be using it, and the quality is very good. It has its own mixer and everything. So yes, for the pastor that's asking about hardware, my suggestion is Google everything and don't be afraid to look for what is the best. There's tons of YouTubers who do the research for you. You can look for best budget mics, best
Mhm,
but
mhm.
you decide how much money you want to spend, and then
Yeah.
you go start doing your YouTubing. And next website I highly recommend is Reddit, Reddit.
Very good.
Yeah, with when you look for advice on Reddit, you get what normal people think. Sometimes YouTube advice they have sponsors behind them pushing, but Reddit you have a general feel of what the entire internet thinks. Everybody's opinion is equally weighted, and just how much community likes it, of course, opinion rises to the top. So a lot of times I look for product reviews on Reddit. This headphone, everything I buy, just type in best XYZ on Reddit, YouTube, and Google, come with a consensus, and you make your purchase. And the final thing, for in terms of having a powerful computer, I think I think that I think you should build. I build my own computer. It is not as hard as it seems, but I think if you build a computer, you can have a very powerful machine that could handle tons of graphic works. Like you could do how much things you want and still without having the computer stick in. And it's very simple. A computer is only like about four different parts, right? There is the motherboard, which is simply a board you plug in everything into to put it
Mhm.
simple. You just and then you plug in a hard drive which you store things on your computer. You plug in a video card which allows your computer to show good graphics. That's hard drive, a video card. You plug in a processor which does all of the calculations and basically calculations and processing of any information. And the last thing is your RAM. And your RAM is just shows you determines how many programs you can simultaneously open without the computer freezing. So with that, and building the computer yourself, if you spend 500 US, you can get a far better computer than if you go in the store or Amazon and just buy a computer. Yeah, so that's what it is.
That's good information. And let me just summarize that very quickly before I go to Mark. For the passes you're looking for a very, I don't like to use the word cheap, a cost-effective solution. You have, as Corbin is using a cell phone, He doesn't even have a tripod because, I mean, I would advise you get a tripod for your cell phone. But he says if you can't afford a tripod, find a decent way, a bounty roll, whatever, prop it up, bottle, cut it, make sure that it is stable. And you can get a 100 US microphone, the SM58. I know them very well. I've used it a lot. That's a Shure microphone, very good quality. And then there's the adapter, the XLR to USB adapter, which is about $100. So what that does is allows you to get very good audio, which is separate from your video. So you're not using your cell phone audio. You use the cell phone video, but a lot of the softwares allow you to separate the video from the audio. So you're using your, well, I'm going very basic here, obviously. This is if you don't have a DSLR or a USB camera. So you use your cell phone video and you use your your mic, your SM58 mic, along with an adapter, and you get your audio separate. You go in OBS studio and you get a good background, as nice as Bert is looking there right now, and for him on very soon. Mark, I know you've been very quiet. I know you've tested a lot of things, and one of the things I want you to talk about as well, Mark. I know that churches from time to time you want to be able to play back some of your videos, so you have your pre-recordings and you want to show back some videos, or as you said, you might have recorded your service earlier, and you want to be able to show it at some other time. Talk to us a little bit about that in terms of some of your what is your advice in terms of the best solutions we can use for that?
All right, good night again, everyone. If I could say good night to my pastors, Pastor Josan Dyer and Pastor Dwayne Dyer, coming under the umbrella of Restorers of the Bridge. And I want to say good night to Lee Glenn. He's watching the live as well too. He gave certain advice that I would reach out for. All right, Cordell, I want to touch on a few points before I actually meet to that point of uploading video, right? Okay. We're talking basic cameras, basic streaming, basic stuff. For certain pastors, they would not be that techie to know about the ISP and stuff like that. So we start in basic before we go pro, right? Now, I just got a few examples there, right? They get cameras that selling for $200 and $300. You could do streaming once they get the HDMI port. This for persons who can't afford a DSLR, like you say, right? All right. We're talking good footage, good audio. I did a few experiments. Talking about recording first, right? I did a few experiments with phone recording. And it was good. I do a few production recently with the phone, and it was just as I use a DSLR or a pro camera, right? Recently, Canon released a software whereby you could upload your video, or you could stream your video without having another device to encode, right? So the churches could, or the persons who are responsible for uploading the videos and responsible for the streaming, they could, check up certain software that allow the video to stream through a Canon camera. Now, let's say, for instance, we just have a phone, and they have separate audio recorders, right? That they could use after recording the video on the phone. They could put it together and have a better production. Now, I'm just moving fast with the basic stuff, right? Now, like I mentioned, you could get a cheaper camera, and once the camera is 1080, you could get a good video image to produce your production. What I start doing, uploading on our church page, I start with putting together the program, and we did not have the stuff to go to go live. So we upload directly on Facebook, and we now going on YouTube. And I had wanted a few. I wanted the program to go live as real time. So I jump into a few other programs. Like I mentioned before, XSplit. I experiment with XSplit OBS, and I'm now at vMix because I want a better end in production, right? And there are few other programs that you have to pay for, and those are the most pro non-paid programs or software you could use to do your uploading to get a better quality of production.
And of course, Mark, vMix allows you to add your scriptures. So for the pastors who you're preaching and you want to be able to have your scriptures up simultaneously, vMix has that feature which allows you to add text, very important, and scriptures as well. You comment on that?
Yeah, definitely. I'm now learning vMix and experimenting a lot on vMix, whereby I did the scripture, I did title, and even play music in the background. And you could do so much more. And for persons who may not, like I said, there are a lot of pastors who are not that techie. They have this software called the NDI that allow you to connect other stuff or other computer to your phone. And Colwyn mentioned earlier about the iCam. I'm currently experimenting iCam as a webcam from my phone, and they have this other. They have different apps that your phone could actually turn into a professional camera. Like you download certain app, and when you do the recording, you get a professional look out of your phone. Once you have a good quality phone that could run the app and have enough space, you could get the whole white balance and audio levels and just like a professional camera. So
because most phones I know, Mark, give you 1080, and we've gone way over time actually. But most phones give you 1080, and people don't necessarily realize that a phone. Let me see if I can just show you, because this phone gives you as good a quality as a camera like this, really. Even though this is my preference to have a camera like this, but really, if I compare it, I can both get 1080 out of the two devices.
And recently, recently I asked myself, should I invest in a phone? But then again, if I invest in a phone, I will have to invest in other stuff to make it look professional, because they have the adapter for the lens to get a more wider range of lens. They have the cage for the camera, so you could, they have stabilizers for phone to actually create a more professional look out of a professional camera. And I asked myself if I should actually invest in a phone or if I should invest in a pro camera. But I'm into photography as well, so I going down that line of a DSLR, but more with a better quality pixel and the function to video and do stills. So yeah.
Right. So I mean, it's all about your preference, what you want to do, what you like, what you can afford, and all of that. I want to bring back the two folks from Belmont very quickly. We're gonna round up very shortly. Minister Chantel, Deacon Randy, tell us a little bit more in terms of. I know you spoke a little bit earlier about what you're using. Based on your own experience, what do you think the average church should do? You don't have a lot of money, but you want to get online. What should the average church do? Your best recommendation. Deacon Randy, maybe you can go first. Right.
Sure. The best thing is, first thing, as Bert said, come up with a plan. What you have right now, can you use that to do anything? Like, for instance, like if you have a computer sitting around, it can be no old computer, but something a little more decent. Like once it have like about say like 8 gigs of RAM, you could start off with that processor, like 3 point something, and all the rest is standard. So you'll have a computer, you have a camera. It could be, it can be. Then it depends if you need to invest in a ATMs in a switch, some kind of switching hardware. I prefer hardware. So it have like some cheap capture cards. You could consider that to get the camera feed. And as this, can't remember his name, but he was saying that one make sure that it have a HDMI output.
Right, that's
Mark, yes, an HDMI output that could actually go direct to the computer. Right, and then the thing about it also is that it all depends if you wanna zoom and if you wanna zoom out, pan, tilt. It all depends on it. But start off basic first. So you can start off like with a one shot, like you can have a tripod and a camera on one shot, and you just zoom into like when the pastor preaching. So you have that feeding into the camera all together with the audio from your board. It could be a simple, let's say, in the ordinary jack, the audio jack that they're putting into the computer, it could be that ordinary jack. It start off simple, that's not costly. And so, and then that could be feed into what like Cohen said, simple OBS, and from there it will encode it and it will send it to either Facebook or YouTube. Depends on the bandwidth you have allocated. And from there start off basic, so that's just like a basic step on how to stream. And also, I just wanted to go back to what Auntie Chantal was saying. She was saying that how do we get people to watch this stream? One of the things is, I mean, we have a lot of WhatsApp group, so we could share the link to persons in the WhatsApp group, and that will just spread towards everybody so they could watch it. And also, just to go back to Facebook and YouTube, a lot of people prefer the YouTube link where they don't want to be on Facebook, they don't want to be distracted, they don't want anybody message them, so they could just go to the link and go to YouTube, and they could just watch it. That's basically it, what I have to say about that right now.
So generally, your recommendation would be, if you can, stream to both Facebook and YouTube.
Yes, if you can. But if not Facebook, you can go ahead with Facebook. It might be a little easier because seeing that you're familiar with Facebook, and then from there you can take it to YouTube. But first, work at what you're familiar with, the basic stuff.
Okay. I want to hear from Minister Chantel, but I also want to throw this question out, whether Minister Chantel will deal with it or anybody else.
I can deal with it.
I want to know how you feel about Zoom for a live church service. I mean, I have my own thoughts about it, but I want to hear your thoughts about Zoom.
I will take it. For us, Zoom as a church service, it's kind of, because one thing, like when I say church service, you're talking about the whole service or just the preaching part? The whole service?
Yes.
Right, the whole service.
Whether Bible study or
right.
a Sunday morning service.
It have the plus and it have the pros and the cons. For example, if there's plenty people on that Zoom, it might be a bit difficult because everybody want to talk and you might have to mute everybody and kind of take control. And then, well, with that context too, you can also give people a chance to speak, especially if they're not on the compound. Like if they migrated, they go on to the next country, so they feel a sense of belonging. It's not like they go on and that's it. So they can give their full input with our allocated time, of course. But with that, I find you'll find like the time span for the service, something might get a bit longer if you don't have proper controlling and planning. And that's my take on it.
Can I interject?
Yes, go ahead.
All right. Well, I'll give it I'll count my answer more of a little more on a technical side. Zoom and products like Zoom is based on WebRTC, and one of the features of WebRTC is it cannot WebRTC WebRTC wasn't made to scale to a very large audience. So what you'll notice within Zoom is that it also allows you to stream to Facebook and YouTube and even a custom server. So the plan really is that if the pastor, and I actually we do it all the time. If the pastor would like to have, and this is a way of involving the church, especially at this time where everybody is locked down, you could get some of your main people to be in the Zoom meeting, and they will be contributing different things. They may have somebody dancing, they may have somebody giving a testimony, they may have somebody, saying a word. They have people within who sit down within the congregation. They are not deacons, they are not, you know, uh, people in the hierarchy of the church, but they yet still they control the people around them. You may
Right.
have them giving, little, um, testimonies, and that will bring a sort of belonging to the congregation of the church. You have them within the Zoom meeting, and to the wider audience, the wider community of the church. You could also stream that to YouTube. You could stream it to Facebook, and that sort of thing, and that would capture the more load of the church itself, and also the people on the outside.
I mean, and it's important because there's some churches that will have set programs. So you have somebody who is supposed to do the scripture. You might have somebody who's what like our church is called it a special. So you're gonna do a song or a poem or a dance or something like that. Those people can all be connected. That's what you're saying, and you can still literally run your church service one item after the other on Zoom and stream it to Facebook. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, you can stream it on Facebook and YouTube.
And
Or
you
you could, or you could send a custom server like Hashtag TV. Sorry.
All right, let me come to Mr. Chantel quick because I know she was going to make a point because we were talking a little bit about your own experiences and your recommendations.
Sorry.
Mr. Chantel, your mic is on mute right now.
I,
Right.
I'm not hearing clear. I didn't hear what you said.
No, we wanted to get follow up from what Deacon Randy was talking about, your own experiences from streaming and your recommendations as such. Oh, she's still not hearing us.
It's breaking up a lot. I didn't even hear exactly what Deacon Randy said. It's really
Okay.
breaking up.
All right. Well, we will come back to you shortly. We'll come back to you shortly. But I want us to begin to round up because we've gone way beyond time. So what I'll do, I will come through to each of you, and you'll just give us your final thoughts in terms of what you will suggest to pastors who want to stream, and what are the easiest, cost-effective, most practical solutions in terms of getting online. And if you want to share your own information in terms of how they can reach you, you can feel free to do so as well. So let me just start with Mark first, and give us your thoughts, give us your final thoughts, final recommendations.
All right, Cardell. To get a budget production, just get a laptop that could handle the workload. At least i5 laptop with good amount of space and could do the upload. Internet. Once they have good internet to do the pre-recording upload would be great. To get to do a live production, they have cheap software that could, help out in that area to get a good quality direct to the page if they cannot do the whole title and stuff like that until they meet to that pro level. They could, venture into different software that could assist in that area. So I think a good rounded budget for to do the kind of production I would suggest about within a $1,000 US, a good laptop, a camera worth about $300 to $400 with the HDMI output to give a good quality audio setup. If they cannot afford the whole big fancy setup, they have small mixer that's selling that just suitable for the live stream for the mic input. Uh, yeah, and even if they can't get that, they could probably use audio recorder, record the audio separate. Make sure the camera definitely will get audio from the camera mic. So in the post editing, they put everything together and get a better outcome.
All right. Thank you very much, Mark. Corinne, you want to jump in there? Just give us your final thoughts, recommendations.
All right. My final thought is Google everything. If you want more viewers, Google or YouTube how to get more viewers. If you want to avoid common live stream mistakes, Google how to avoid common live stream mistakes or YouTube it. Like every single thing you want help with, Google it. Right.
Yes.
But from my personal opinion, I think what's very important is to just engage and engage often. Even if you have poor quality, one of your congregation members is gonna fix you. Gonna say, Pastor, do X, Y, Z, it's gonna be better. Like it's gonna happen. And even if the quality is kind of low, I think just the constant engagement is what is most important. Like for instance, there's radio shows that are super popular and they're not even using any camera. They just have an interesting topic and they involve in the people and people get drawn to it. What camera they're using, right? So you could even create some podcast and share it to Facebook or whatever, or and like when you engage and you could like bring up a topic and respond to people in the comments, like start some interesting topic, and when the people post, you answer. Not much people want to talk back to the pastor. Let's talk back in the roadway, but they would love to engage with the pastor. So you just gotta post often and get them accustomed seeing you. If you just do a half-hour segment Sunday morning and they never connect with you again to the next half-hour segment next week Sunday morning, that you could lose them easy like that. Especially before COVID-19, we had about every day was church. So we were seeing it that everyday church is important. But so far since COVID, some YMs never picked up back women's ministry, men's ministry. Like, well, for our church, we still have every single service. Boys, all the Sunday schools, all the classes, everything. We do it in separate Zoom meetings, like for the women's ministries. If we call it in Guyana, we got separate Zoom meetings where we have the large group where everyone's mic is muted and the host only is talking, and then Zoom, they break us up into groups of like mini groups of 5, where we create a topic, and in Zoom they have a option to make subgroups and split up everybody and give them like 15 minutes to talk amongst themselves, and everybody engages, and then they come back into the whole big group again. Right?
Very good.
Yeah, so the Zoom allows that. Again, if you don't know how to do that on Zoom, Google it or just YouTube how to make mini rooms in Zoom. Right? Google and YouTube is your best helpers, right? Yeah, so there's my final word of advice. Engage very often and get them accustomed to. If you can engage every day, do it. Just be interesting.
All right, thank you very much, Corinne. Deacon Randy?
All right, so everybody touched on all the basics already, right? So basically, like for me, like one of Bishop's thing is like we are committed to making every life better. So in other words, how would we make people's life better? Like for instance, like in the situation right now, we will live stream, right? And one of the factors is, you have to have a plan, and you could draw it out, right? What I want to do, and then you have to research it, as Cohen said. And next thing that you have to take into consideration, for example, if you have something working, do not update it until you do sufficient research. And I know we have the data guys here, but I had a question to towards them, right? The question was, what is the best way for a storage management system in terms of the services we have to store the services? Because, for example, like, how do you all store your service? So, for instance, like 2 years from now, you all want to get the service, how should I retrieve it? Should I go to YouTube? What's the best? That's just the truth towards you all guys. If you all have the time to answer it, if not, well, I'll email you all separately.
Sure.
Right. So we have two between Agar and Birthday. I know they can handle that very, very easy. But let me just hear from Minister Chantel. I hope you can hear me now. You can hear me now? Your mic is still on mute. Your mic is still on mute.
Right.
Okay, good.
No.
Right.
Right, good.
No.
It's coming up. It's on mute again.
I think she pressed it twice.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize I can
Okay.
unmute you.
All right.
So I just unmute you, right?
All right. Yes. Firstly, I want to say it was really edifying and uplifting. And also, I want to say that we have to start somewhere. I want to. I mean, it was breaking up here and there, but we all had a lot to bring to the table, and even as stuff that was said before, we can start, as Cohen said, we can start with as little as we have, but we have to edify ourselves as ministers, as pastors, as the body of Christ, working for the body of Christ. We have to edify ourselves. So just as he was saying, just to reiterate, we need to, Google, YouTube, learn. One of my biggest persons is Cordell. When we first started and I was not sure with certain things, I will call him, he will come, he will assist us from here from time to time. And that's what we need to do, network as the body of Christ.
Yes.
In order to help each other. But we have to start somewhere. And if you have presently a camera, and even as Cohen said, you could invest in, maybe you invest slowly and surely, but you build from there and use this pandemic as a platform and a stepping stone to get out there and to get the word out, right? Zoom, as he said again, we are using Zoom presently. It is working. We are being fed, and we are taking from the Zoom and WhatsApp. We use a lot of WhatsApp. So we send out to the different individuals. Yes, you would have persons in your ministry, different age groups. You have the young at heart, you have the young ones. Use your young people. Anybody that could hold a phone and start to manipulate on a phone, get them involved in your church, get them to do the different things. Start as small as you are, and you can elevate, and we will reach where you'll be able to reach where my brother here, Birth is with this green screen, and I mean all up and going, but we have to start somewhere. So it's not to really be at a point where, oh my God, so where would I be? But we can start from where we are, and you have to go out there. You have to make yourself friendly in order to gain friends. So you have to get on Facebook. You have to minister to the people. Sometimes it's just a script here. Sometimes it's just a quote, but you build from there, and you allow, when you build, you share, you allow your congregation to share, because we are friends. We also have friends who have friends who have friends. But it will take it from there, and we all would be able to do the same thing. But but we will all reach there. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much, Minister Chantel. And I usually advise pastors that you can't start today and try to be like the Creflo Dollars and the big ones that have lots of resources. Or let's break it down. Starting, you don't want to be like Bishop Ibeleme or one of the others who, have been around for quite a while, who've done things, trial and error and all of that. You grow, you understand where you're at. It doesn't mean that you're going to be mediocre with what you're providing.
Exactly.
You can still have excellence. I grew up in a television channel where we didn't have anything or very little, and we had to make it look like CNN or BBC. And so we learned how to take little and make it look good. And because of that, I advise pastors that, listen, use what you have, see how you can maximize what you have, because that's what you can afford. You work with what you can afford. But in maximizing what you have, make sure that you go for quality. You try to at least project some level of quality to the people who are watching. But at the same time, you don't want to frustrate yourself into trying to do the things like all of the people who have a lot of money and a lot of equipment, a lot of resources that they have. So you have to understand where you are, but you can project where I want to be, but at least know where you are. All right, let me go to Agri quickly because I want to hear from you guys. So Agri and then Bart, we're gonna round up.
Right. So, Randy, if you could repeat the question one more time.
I was talking about the best storage management system, like to store like passing like messages, like how long, for example, messages that say are messages like 2 years, 3 years, what's the proper way to store it?
Okay, so that's a broad question. So
Right.
the next question you have to ask yourself: do you want to store it in house, or do you want to store it in the cloud?
Well, either or. It
Either
could
or.
be, yeah.
Or it could be both. Good.
Yeah.
I like that answer because we actually do both.
Right.
So we use Synology. Synology is a NAS, network attached storage. NAS stands for network attached storage. Google Synology, as Kirk would say, just Google stuff. NAS Synology, and then we use Amazon Glacier, right, as our long-term backup. So we have this 30-something terabyte drive. Essentially, it's a server because we saw a lot of stuff, and we shoot in HD 1080 I, and we stream in HD as high as 1080 as low as 720. And we essentially store it on the Synology, but then we back it up to Amazon's cloud. And I can't remember the numbers now but it's a few US dollars per megabyte or per gig or whatever the case is. So it is backed up all the way. We have files backed up since 2010, 2011, 2015. So I could go online now, and it costs me nothing really for it to store per se with Amazon Glacier, right? Because that's what Amazon Glacier is about. Just need to get large terabytes of storage on a big cloud. But if I want to download that file, if I want to download a whole month's service to bring it back to me, it costs me money, right? And time to bring it back, right? So that's the cloud part, bringing it home. The Synology device sits in a room. You have a network cord running straight into it. And if I want to pull up the last free services my apostle preach from at home here, I can log in to that NAS and download that file onto my computer, or one of the 2 video editors at our church could log in and pull the video file and edit it and put something to YouTube or a YouTube channel, or push it to Facebook, right? So we use both. We bought the Synology device. It sits in church there, so I have not seen that device for over a month. But if the internet goes or the power goes in Digger Martin, I know we get updates on it going off and coming back on. And however, like services, and we have a plan coming back to the point that Bert made. We have a plan, and the plan is stuff in 2015, 2016 is being uploaded now to Amazon Glacier. So 16, I think 15 is done. I think we just started 16 automatically uploading to the cloud. And what that does, that will now clear up the stuff that's on the NAS so that the services that, let's say, we preach in September or October would store on the NAS, and the older services will go up to the cloud. Understood? So
Right.
that's our plan there in a nutshell. We have a hardware about 30 something terabytes. They have 12 terabytes, 10 terabytes, 4 terabytes. If you're now starting out, don't get no big server. You understand? Like what we have. Come down very, very small. Make sure everything burn off on DVDs and they're well labeled and logged. And have like you can start off basically with an Excel spreadsheet and name this box 2015, because I sure you have DVDs, right, Brandy? I sure you have
Yeah.
some DVDs that are good. Name this box 2015, name this box 2017, whatever the case is. Over time, you have some young people digitize it, right? So the first step with data, if you have analog, which is mostly what all of us have, you digitize it to the Synology device, which essentially is a big server, right? Once you put it each service for each month, for each week in an order. So you have a folder for 2017. Then you have a folder for January 2017. You have a folder for the first week in January 2017, the second week in January 2017. So that's our essentially data structure now. And once that is set on your Synology device, you now invest in Amazon cloud for backing up that stuff from your Synology, because remember your Synology, let's say buy a small one, a little 5 terabyte or 10 terabyte one. When that's full, where you put in the rest of data, right? It must go somewhere. So the process is when we hit halfway or so of our Synology device, we invested it in Amazon Glacier, and we start uploading. It can take sometimes days or weeks based on your interconnection, your upload speed, and all that stuff we talked about before for the files to go up. But over time, you will now have years online, but your most recent service, let's say the last 2 to 3 years, is at church right now, and I could log in to the cloud from home where you are, or when I go into church, I could just pull the file from that Synology device onto a computer and edit it, or bring back a piece that Apostle may want. So that's
Right.
our data flow and our data plan. But before that, we would stream on Facebook and others and live stream. Those are the two places that we would have done stuff. What we did with the hour or 3 hours or 4 hour service would usually be we save on YouTube, right? If you have no kind of money to do all of that, Facebook saves at 720. YouTube, you could save as 1080 and 4K on YouTube. So if you don't have all that money to go through all that planning and do all of that stuff, ignore everything I just said, and ensure that when you're broadcasting your service, you send your highest quality to YouTube, right? And make sure it saves there in, let's say, in 1080. So in the future, if you want, you could download that YouTube video and edit it.
Right. And as Corinne said too, you have the option of researching, because there are a number of other services that offer storage.
Right.
For example, some of us, like myself, I pay for Adobe every month. And Adobe has, I think, 1 terabyte available that we don't really use. Okay. So Adobe has 1 terabyte. If you pay for Microsoft Office, for example, you have a terabyte that's available in terms of storage. I haven't really tested the uploading and downloading, but it is available. But many people
No,
don't
no,
know
no,
that.
no. We are talking about 8 terabytes of video, you know. So
No,
he
no, no.
okay, so
Right.
I
He's talking about
from
Bishop
here.
wants to have all our services on. I'm talking
Oh,
about at least. I'm talking about at least to start,
oh, okay.
right? Because you're looking, Bishop wants to have all our services. So 5 years from now, we're celebrating our 20th anniversary, which happened 5 years ago. I want to be able to pull something from that, take out a clip, or
Right.
maybe celebrating somebody we can use. We can go back in time and to be able to extract stuff. So you want to have something, some place that I can store footage that I can will be readily available, so that I can now go back and pull that, maybe pull it back in Adobe and edit and do whatever I want to do, or project it to the church,
Right.
whatever it is.
I have a,
So
I have
yeah,
a question. Randy, what is the average size for one service?
Roughly like about 3 gigs. That's like about 2 hours.
2 hours, three gigs. So it will take you what you have to do now. If your starting plan, let's say as Cordell said, is 1 terabyte is what you have now. You
A year. I work it out already. It's about a year it will take me.
exactly. So
I have bright people on this
yeah,
program.
and he's very good. So so 1 terabyte for you is a year, right?
Mhm.
And that is at what quality?
Sorry.
The 2 to 3 hours is at what quality?
It's 1080.
Okay, good. So that's you for a year. But
Yeah.
we store 6 8 years all in the cloud, so that our on premise server is more freed up to do our in-house stuff. So yeah, you have to calculate that and see at some point you'll want to delete it. But again, between me and you, we still have our DVDs there.
Yeah, we still have it.
We still have our DVD tapes. So
Yeah.
even if Amazon Glacier shut down, we still have a second backup.
And you have the
Right.
option of YouTube as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
and
That's the third option. Right?
yeah.
I'm coming to Bert now too. And he's the right man to round up tonight. Because you see, that's a very important question. I'm sorry we don't have more time, because a lot of pastors want to preserve their messages. You know, you might go back to an earlier message, and you want to go back and you want to have it stored. And then you also, because Randy was talking about that size, there's some pastors who might record on a SD card, MTS format, for example.
My
1080, that is 3 hours is 32 gigabytes, right? Unless you can find a way to compress that, then you end up with 32 gigabytes raw footage. And you now have to determine whether I want to pull that in Adobe and save it as an MP4, for example, so that the size of that file is reduced significantly. But those are all very technical stuff. And we're pretty much out of time. So let me just go to Bert. Some other time we'll come back and talk about storage as another program. Bert, you have the last say.
Good night. Well, oh, well, it was very thanks Cordell for inviting me, and well, the Hatchlight team crew who are working in the background here.
Say hello to your director in the background. I saw her walk across just now.
Yeah. Well, this is a very, very broad topic, and I'm not one who would give specifics to any large audience like this. If a pastor would like to know, you see, every environment is different. Every single environment is different, and every pastor has a different plan. So it's very difficult to say a pastor would need this type of computer, this type of camera, this. All right. If you want to know that, yes, my number is X, Y, and Z. You can give me a call. All right. Um, outside of that, I think the basics were discussed. You start small, And
You know, you can't tell them how to find you. You know, it's not a problem if you want to.
yeah, okay.
No, you don't have to be modest. You don't have to be modest on Facebook. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay, but yes, you can start small and grow as you go along. Now, there's a whole different topic that is a next to this topic that we did not discuss, and that is truly live streaming. I mean, pastors would like to have services outside of their church and stream it back to the church or stream it onto the public, forum.
Correct.
So we're talking about live streaming from a location. And that's a whole different topic. That will require a whole different show. And
Correct.
Agri might go mad. But
Yeah.
that will cover, all the new technologies that are out there. People have long moved away from RTMPS and RTMP. It's only the current CDNs are still using it.
My CDN is actually still using RTMP, so I know that. Right.
There are all different other codecs out there and that are being used, especially intermediary point-to-point at point-to-point locations and that sort of stuff. That is much better than RTMP and has more redundancy and it manages latency in a much better way.
Yes.
So we have a lot of things to talk about. But as I said, this was a very, very, I agree with the young lady. It was a very enlightening show. I was very happy that Agri was on board. I learned a lot.
Same here, sir.
So that, and again, Cordell, thanks. Well, this is Heartlight TV. We do a lot of streaming all over. I don't want to advertise too much, but if you want, you can reach us, corp@heartlighttv.com. That is our email. We are on all social media. We are on Facebook, and we are also on YouTube. We go by some other brands. You will see Caribbean Cyber Stream. We also do
That's a senior moment.
Crossroad Productions. We have several brands that we go under, but it's all us. We stream all our streams are encrypted and we do HD right through, HD up. So that's basically who we are and what we are about. And again, thanks again, Cordell. And it was a very, very high level panel. I was very impressed. Have a good night.
All right, thank you all very much. And just in case you join us late, we have Bert Williams, who is usually described as a veteran. If you Google his name, you'll see he goes way back, and his name shows up with a lot of stuff that he doesn't like to talk about. And Deacon Randy Regis from Belmont, Victorious Faith Ministries to be specific. Minister Chantal De Freitas, Andrews also there from Victorious Faith Ministries. Agri Marsh, he's a Google ICT consultant and a Google developer in Guyana. Of course, he's based in Trinidad as well. Mark Doris from Restorers of the Breach Ministries, Pastor Joseph and I, and we had Corbin Cyrus, he's from Bethlehem Assembly of God in Valley Stream in New York. So it was a pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, having you all. We should have gone for an hour, but we went for 2. But it was very informative, and I hope that those who are watching really was able to benefit in some way or the other from our discussion. And I'm trusting God that we'll be able to have you on back some other time, that we can talk about something else, maybe storage, maybe like streaming from a location. I don't know, as the request comes up.
Nice.
All right, and there's some people who are requesting your contact information. I will connect them with you subsequent to this program. So thank you all very much. Thank you to our
Thank you.
Thank you.
watching, and God bless you all. Stay safe
God
in this
bless.
COVID
You
period,
too.
and be good.
Yes.
Thank you all.
Amen.
Bless you.
Amen.